The number one mistake people make when it comes to creating videos is they don't prepare the video. They don't ask themselves key questions and set up their video for success. On platforms, there's an algorithm, and the algorithm knows how much time people are spending on your content, and that includes video. They know how long people are watching the video before they bail, before they dump out, swipe. And the longer the watch time, the more likely the algorithm is going to send that video to more people. So it's really important that you not only plan your video so that you talk about the things that you want to talk about and look like the credible expert that you are, it's also important that you know how to set up a video so that people will stay until the end. And there are key elements that you have to have in a video if you want that to happen. You also have to know what the purpose of your video is. What do you want to happen after this video is watched by someone? What do you want them to do? How do you want them to feel? How do you want them to connect with you on that video? And there's different types. We're going to talk about those different types today on This is Virginia Kerr, where you get video and marketing hacks for your online business so you can convert followers into customers. I have a course called This is Video School where I go into great detail and all the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. But I thought it would be fun to talk to one of the students from This is Video School to see exactly how she's using what she learned, how she's applying it, and how it is helping her business and her engagement. I asked her what her favorite lessons were and if she had any tips for people who are going to be watching this or listening to this. Her name is Marie. She is a hairstylist and hairstylist educator, and she was not really using video consistently before This is Video School, and she certainly was not using video as far as her being on video. She would use video to record her clients and her customers, but she didn't like putting her face on video until now. Tell me what your frustrations were about video and social media video before This is Video School.
Just getting started, the editing of it, I wanted it to look streamlined and it wasn't matching up. Now I know how to do all the transitions and, all the little secrets that I've learned from you. It has made it so much easier. I would tend to video it in one long video. And if I'd make a mistake, I'd, get frustrated and go back and delete it and have to keep redoing it. And I've learned that I don't have to video it in one long thing. I can make them chopped up videos and then add them together where they look seamless, not like one shuts off and the other one stops up.
And you're only through half of the course because you said you're
Yes.
through module 4 and there's 8 modules. So far, what's been your favorite thing about the course and how it's laid out?
I've learned something in every module. I like how it starts out in the simple form. It didn't go into complicated. And I love how you show how every single step in the course, like you literally show on your phone how to do it. So it wasn't confusing, and everything's very, explained, how to move the text around, how to make the text show up where it's not being covered by anything else. I've learned more in your course than I have learned in hundreds of other courses. I'm in an industry where education is key, and there are a lot of these courses out there that are hairstylist based and everything like that. I've learned more in your course than I've ever learned in my industry's courses. And I like that it's fun because you're relatable. I feel like, when it's the talking heads and the people who've done this forever are saying and looking at you like, why can't you get it? So I like it that you've made it simple. And I love the humor because that's kind of my humor. I'm very, people who know me know that I'm kind of like slapstick.
Well, it's not, life's way more fun when you don't take yourself too seriously.
Exactly.
Now, you've already started applying this. What kind of response have you gotten just from the first few videos that you've done?
Huge response. I had been the person who, I don't like to put myself on video. It's always about my clients. I did my first IGTV. I got the biggest engagement on that. And it was a video of me doing a hair hack that I do. I got more response out of that than I got of any, of my stuff before on videos. And I have a few clients that are large number influencers, and I got more on the IGTV I made of me. So
Nice.
it's great. Yeah, and the videos have really helped, able to do transitions. I mean, it's been great. I just got to put my face out there more, so I just need to do it.
You
So,
will, you will.
yeah,
What it sounds like is you are not blowing through it. Like you're really
yeah,
taking your time
yeah.
learning and then applying and then going to the next lesson. And I think that's really important because if you consume it all at once, you'll overwhelm yourself and you'll
Mhm.
have to go back to the beginning or you won't remember it all to really get it to build on each other and work so that you can start to repurpose your video. And I like how you're really focusing on one platform before you're
Mhm.
adding on more, because again, that will overwhelm you too. So master one platform, then go into that repurposing module, which I believe is your next module. And then you'll be able to see how easy it is for you to start appearing in lots of places, but not having to do more work.
Perfect. Yeah, there are some videos I've watched easily 10 times. Just I keep rewatching it to make sure I have everything.
Marie is having success with video because she is an action taker and she's not trying to consume and think about it and then maybe one day get on the video. She's doing it now. She's taking it in bite sizes and she is building off of it so that she doesn't overwhelm herself. And she's making sure that she has a schedule with her videos that makes sense for her. She looks at her calendar. She knows when she's going to be shooting a video, creating a video, and that week she knows what the content is going to be before she gets out there and does it. So I want to talk to you about that. I want to know, are you doing that? Are you prepping, asking yourself the key questions that you need to be asking so that your videos do what you want them to do and so that people are watching them longer so that the algorithm sends it out to more people? We want people to watch our videos because the longer they watch us, the more they build trust with us. And the more trust they have, the more likely they are to purchase from us. The big mistake people make online is we skip that whole phase of the trust building. And why I call video Viagra for your marketing is because it builds that trust a lot faster than any other content out there. It gets people excited about you. It gets people wanting to buy your service, buy your product before you even talk to them one on one. In fact, if you do it right, you could have people buying from you without ever talking to you. Wouldn't that be nice? That is what video can do for you if you have a video plan, if you know who you're talking to, if you know what kind of videos do what, so that you have some kind of strategy, which is what This Is Video School is all about. Let's talk about what I believe are the 5 main things you need to know before you even press record on your next video so that people are watching it, so that you can build that trust, so that they will purchase from you. Number 1, you have to know what you want that specific video that you are about to create. What do you want it to do for you? I put these in 3 categories, even though I could have subcategories that we could go into on another day, but I put it into 3 categories. And I'm going to give you the categories and I'm going to give you examples for these categories on different platforms. Number 1 is what you want the video to do. And the video can either help you grow your audience, or it can help you connect with your existing audience, nurture that audience. Again, that would be really building that trust. Or number 3, it can help you sell to someone. It can help you sell your services or your products. So you have to know, what do I want this video to do? Now, sometimes we can overlap a little bit. This video is on YouTube. It's also a podcast. I would not consider this type of video to be one that would help me grow, because the algorithm is not going to spit this out to tons of people on YouTube because it's going to be a long video. And because I'm assuming you already know a little bit about me, I'm assuming you are already following me so that I am talking to you at a greater depth. This is a longer form of content. So you are going to be learning a lot, getting to know me a little bit more, and also building that trust. Now, me sharing Marie's testimonial with This Is Video School was a little bit of me selling, but it wasn't a direct pitch. If this was a sales video, I would be going full throttle into all about this is video school. I would be telling you why you need to buy it. I'd be telling you where to go to get it. So that would be a direct pitch, me selling something and telling you all about my product. But instead, I went behind the scenes. You got a tip or two from it, and you are going to get lots of tips in this content. But this is an example of a connecting video. Some people would call it a community video. You're nurturing your existing community. Another example of a connect video or a community video would be one that's longer on your Instagram account. So your IGTV, that's a longer video, or it could be. It doesn't have to be a long video. But anything that's going to really go into more detail and more in depth and storytelling, that is going to be one that's going to connect with your community. If you want to grow your audience, this is going to be that snackable bite-sized video, like a reel, like a TikTok, or a shorter version of a video on YouTube or IGTV. A lot of videos that will grab people's attention and get them curious enough to want to come back to your account. And that type of content is going to be when you give hacks, when you give tips, when you kind of trigger people with something that they're doing because they're making a mistake and tell them why they should stop doing it. This is going to grab people's attention. You could also do this with humor. I did this on my first TikTok account. I had all comedy, and I did grow because I kept putting out that type of content that would attract somebody and they would follow me. But I didn't build a community with that type of video, and I did not sell a thing with that type of video, because if you just do entertainment, but you're not teaching at the same time, you're not building trust. You're building a following of random people who think you're funny and entertaining. So you want your snack-sized video, like your Reels, your TikToks, your shorter IGTVs, to be something that's going to give your viewer a quick win. They can binge lots of snackable size videos. So that's why I encourage people to have series in their Reels, so that if somebody happens to land on part 3 of a series, they're more likely to go back and binge the others. And they're more likely to remember you the next time that snack size video pops up in a reel or on their For You page on TikTok. And over time, they are more likely to follow you, or they may follow you right away because they learned and then they went and binged and they really like you. So that's what a growth video does. And sometimes you might get tired of doing these types of videos because you really want to get to the good stuff, the in-depth stuff, but you have to have the growth types of videos if you want to grow your audience. And you can go through seasons with these. When Reels first launched on Instagram, I went full throttle into Reels, and I did a Reel every single day. When I started my second TikTok account, I was doing 2 to 3 TikToks a day, throwing out all that bait, is what I like to call it, to grab my ideal person and get their attention, get them curious enough to want to come back to my account. That is a growth video. That is a video that grows your audience. A connect video, that's also one that you would find in Instagram stories. However, your stories are shorter videos. So you're kind of doing a mix in there. You're doing a little bit of growth and a little bit of community and a little bit of sales in your stories. It's just a lot shorter, and you're mixing it up a little bit. Your sales videos can live anywhere, but you can do a direct pitch on any of the platforms. You could do one on TikTok if you wanted to. I've never done one on TikTok. My goal has always been follow me on TikTok and then trust me, and then go over to Instagram where they can get more long format video. Same with my podcast, and same with YouTube. A podcast episode, YouTube video, where we're going into more depth and detail, that's going to be a community video. So that's number 1. Do you want this to grow your audience? Do you want to sell a product or a service in this video? Or do you want to connect with your audience, nurture them, and continue to build that trust with them? And then once you've figured out what your purpose is with this video, you've got to go in and get a good idea for that video. This is assuming you know who your ideal person is, you have content categories, you've got a good idea about what your brand is and the problem that you solve and how you educate people on that problem and that solution that you have for them. And you want to make sure this is something that your ideal person is really curious about. And you can do market research to figure out what that is. You can test videos on all areas, on all platforms, but I like to test video in stories because right after that, I can throw up a poll sticker and ask people if that was helpful or if they already knew that. And if I get 90% of people saying, yes, helpful, give me more, ding, 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 I know that's good content. And that's something I can go and repurpose that same topic, or I can continue to build off of that topic. You can also do this by just looking at the number of views you have on videos on like a TikTok or a reel. But again, views are great, but if they're not coming back because they want more afterwards, or if they're not engaging with you in that video, then that's a sign that, okay, I got eyeballs, but maybe I missed the mark on that one. Because in order for a video to be successful and seen successful as by the algorithm, there's got to be engagement. They got to comment, they got to share, they got to DM you. That lets you know this video is working for me. You can also check out if this video is working for you by looking at the insights in that platform. So for Instagram, I like to look at the reach, and then I like to look at how many people saw my video who were not already following me. And the insights will tell you that. If I get a lot of likes or if I get a lot of views, but the algorithm didn't send it out to new eyeballs, well, that is not going to grow my audience. And it possibly wasn't something that really got a lot of engagement. So maybe my audience didn't really like it that much. They just happened to look at it a little bit. And that also leads to watch time. If we want these videos to be successful, that means we got to have a retention and keep them through the end. That's why it's really important that if you're going to put a long video out there, you better have your video planned so that people will want to watch it until the end. Otherwise, if they dumped out in the first few seconds, that's not a successful video. And it's why I really encourage you not to have really long videos in your IGTVs in the beginning when you're starting this, because most of the time people are not going to watch the whole thing. Going back to that retention thing, I often tell my students and my clients this: just because Reels gives you 30 seconds doesn't mean you should use all 30. Just because TikTok gives you 1 minute doesn't mean you need to go all 1 minute on them, because those two algorithms feed off of watch time. And if you can't get someone to stay until the end, your video is not going to do well. I will say that on TikTok, the algorithm gives you grace when your videos are longer. So it doesn't expect there to be a 100% on the watch time if it's a 40-second video. It does need to be a high percentage, but it doesn't need to be as high as if it was a 12-second video. So there is that. But I have found that I'm more likely to get more views when my videos are shorter. And even on the videos that went viral on TikTok that were longer, I had a certain formula so that people would want to watch longer. It's okay. The child walked in. So you have to know what you're doing if you want a longer video to get longer watch time and go viral or get more eyeballs. I personally don't think going viral is necessary for you to grow a business. In fact, if we're only after viral videos, that means that we really don't care who's watching our videos or who's following us. That means we're not being intentional about our ideal follower, and that's not smart for business. But if you want more views so that you increase the chances of growing your audience, you need to know the formula, which is what we're doing right here. Number 3, you have to plan your hook and your cover if you're talking about a reel or an IGTV. And that is, or a live video. And that is because your cover is going to help your person binge on your content. If you make it really obvious what that video is about, it's more likely to get watched. If you've got an enticing title or a hook on that cover image, it's more likely to get watched, even if it's not a brand new video. You can wake up a tired old reel if someone goes to your Reels channel and they want to go watch the rest of that series that they just landed on the Reels page. And now, because you've put a clear title on the cover image, it's easier for them to go find it. And now they're more likely to go watch and engage with that video, which can wake up an old reel if enough people start to watch it again. Same applies on TikTok, but there are no cover images on TikTok. But you need to know and have it done before you go to post, because you can't go back and add a cover to a reel, and you can't go back and add a cover to an IGTV. So that's got to get figured out. What's the title of the video? What's the hook? What are you going to say to get them to want to watch more? And your hook is basically you telling your ideal person, the viewer, that you've got a solution for them that's going to solve a problem for them. Or you're going to talk about something that is shocking and polarizing because you are telling them to stop doing this awful mistake that is causing you to lose viewers. If it was me, don't say this on the video if you don't want to lose credibility and annoy people. That's an example of what I do on a reel. That would be a video that I'm using to grow my account. But I already know what my hook is, what my first sentence is going to be when I go to make the video. I already know what the hook is. I already know what the bullet points are way before I get on there. So you need to know what your hook is. And you don't necessarily want to say exactly what the title is. You just want to get their attention long enough so that they'll continue to watch. So you got to keep them in the first 2 seconds, which I've given you tons and tons of information on what not to say so that you don't lose your people. But what you do need to say is, I'm about to help you with X, Y, and Z. If you don't want to ruin your life, watch this video. That was a terrible example, but my point is you want to tell them, I've got the solution for you so that you no longer feel this pain, or so that you avoid this pain in the first place. But you got to watch in order for that result to happen for you. So what are you going to give them? How are you going to give it to them? For instance, I could say 3 ways to look confident on camera. So I told you you're going to get confident on camera, and I've got 3 ways to do it. That's my how. You're going to watch these 3 ways, which will go into detail about the how. And that is an example of you telling them solution to avoid the pain if you don't want to look like you're scared on video. So what is the hook? And then when I talk about that watch time and how you want to keep them a little bit longer, one of the ways I did this on my TikToks was I didn't give them the answer right away, but I kept building up the suspense. Maybe I was talking about a word that you shouldn't use, and instead of saying, don't say the word just, instead I would say, this is a word that a lot of people use, so most likely you're using it too. And the problem is it's stripping you of your credibility, it's annoying people, and it's not helping you get what you want. So I'm building the suspense, the tension. What is it? Tell me the word, for Pete's sake. And that allows them to stay a little bit longer. So you can build the tension in the beginning, or you can continue to talk about the problem to really identify and relate with them. And in that situation, I could say something like, I know you don't always realize that some of the words you're using are hurting your views and hurting your credibility. And this is a word that I'm pretty sure you're using. I know you're using it because everybody uses it, but you got to stop, because it's really discrediting what you're trying to say in your videos. And that hurts your credibility. That hurts your authority. That hurts your views. So again, I'm really building on that problem before I get to the solution. So think about, okay, I'm going to hook them with what they're going to get and how I'm going to give it to them and what it's going to do for them. Then I'm going to either really build that suspense or really build up that problem and what it's doing to them so that they want to continue to watch. The next thing is, you've heard facts tell and stories sell. You want to make sure you've got some kind of story element, or just plain old story, in your video. And that means that you're going to have to think about either a personal story that's going to help them relate, or you're going to talk about something that you couldn't figure out how to do, and then you figured it out, and now you're going to help them with it, and you're going to talk to them about the results that it got you. I do this a lot. I talk about my experience on TikTok and how it was frustrating, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I made a lot of embarrassing moments, but I kept at it because what was the thing that I wanted? I wanted to figure it out so I could make money with that app. So a story is always going to have a character, whether that's going to be you, because you're going to use you as an example, or is it going to be the person who's watching the video and you're helping them get what they want? So that's the next thing, is it's a character who wants something, but something's standing in the way. And for me, I didn't know how to do TikTok. I was embarrassing myself. I kept making mistakes, couldn't figure out why I wasn't making money. So I wanted to make money, but I wasn't doing it. Something was standing in the way. Then I made a terrible mistake, which was me copying and getting called out for it. So that's the next element. Somebody or something comes along and helps the character get what they want. And for me, that was me making a terrible mistake and getting called out, and then deciding, I've made this mistake in a different way before, and I didn't give up. I just kept going, and I learned from my mistake. What is the lesson I can learn? How can I apply it to the situation? So that was me having my transformation happen. Aha, I'm no longer going to look at people in my industry. I'm going to go all in on me and continue to go and get better. And what did I do? I built a second account. I started making nice money on TikTok and on Instagram because of that. So that was what I wanted. I got it. How does that make me feel? I feel confident. I am so free because I get to go all in on who I am, and I get to teach other people how to do the same thing, which just lights me up. It's so fun. So again, character in this situation, it was me. And then the next thing is, what do they want? I wanted to make money on TikTok because it was so fun, but I knew I had to make money or my husband wasn't going to take my TikTok account away. Number 3, I had to figure out how to overcome my conflict and why I couldn't get the money on TikTok. And that was because I wasn't attracting the right people. I wasn't doing the right content. I knew that. Then something came along in my situation. I made a horrible mistake. I learned from that mistake. That could have been a person. It could have been someone who called me up one day and said, let me show you how to make money on TikTok because you're not doing it right. But that was not what happened. Instead, I figured it out with my mistake. Then I went on to make money on TikTok. That is me getting the results through the transformation. And how does that make me feel? I'm confident. I am doing well with my business. And most of all, I get to go and teach you how to do the same thing. So that's my transformation and how I felt. So a story has those elements in it. And sometimes if I need to make it a different way of explaining, it's basically, who's the person? What are they looking for? Why is it that they're looking for that? What's their pain right now? What's standing in the way? What's causing that pain? Who or what came along to solve that problem? And now that they've had this transformation and they got what they want, what is that doing for them? What are the benefits for them? And you can also say, I could do this too. Actually, I'm doing it right now, that my viewer is the character. So I'm helping you right now figure out why your videos are not getting watched. That's the problem. You want people to watch your video, but they're not. So I've come along, I'm the person who comes along, and I'm showing you how to do it so that you can now take this knowledge from this podcast episode and then go apply it to your videos. And what I'm telling you is, what's going to happen is you're going to get more people watching more of your video, which will increase that trust factor, which will increase your conversion rate of followers into customers. Yes, that is a story. But you also want to make sure, if you've got a longer form of content that you're using to connect with people, like a podcast, like a longer IGTV, you want to inject those personal stories within that. And you're hearing me do that all through this episode because I am connecting with you. I had someone review the podcast this week, and she said she found me on TikTok, then she found me on Instagram, but it wasn't until she got a hold of the podcast that she realized she and I are more alike than we are not. And that is because I tell a lot of personal stories on this podcast that I don't have time to go into on the other platforms that I'm on. And that is why the podcast is so beneficial, because it might not get crazy amounts of listens or views if you're watching it on YouTube, but the ones who are watching it are already in my audience, and I am continuing to grow that relationship with them. So going back to number one, and I already said this, but the podcast is a community or connection video. Next step. So we've figured out what we want the video to do for us. We figured out what the video is going to be about, what it's going to do for our person, what the hook and title is going to be so that we can create our cover. And we have figured out which stories we are going to inject within this video to make it more relatable, but also it could make it so that the person watching is the hero in this, and you've come along to be their helper to get them what they need in the end. Think of any movie that you watch. You watch the movie and you figure out within the first 5 minutes who the main character is and what they want and what they're struggling with. And then at some point during that movie, something or someone comes along to help them get an aha moment and really fight and get what they wanted in the very beginning of the movie. And then everything is happily ever after. Same process. But now we have to figure out, if we're talking about video here, this has got to be visually interesting. So before I ever hit record on any of my videos, I have already thought about the visual elements that I'm going to use in that, whether that's going to be a prop, or it's going to be camera changes, or it's going to be B-roll, which is video on top of video, or is it going to be a still picture that I'm going to use to illustrate that point? I've already thought about the video, and you need to do the same thing. Because if you are always just a talking head on all of your videos, you're going to lose people that you could have kept around longer and increase your chances of getting new clients, new customers. So visually, especially on a short video, yay, they're short. But if you're using a reel or a TikTok to grab someone's attention, it's got to be compelling. And so you've got to be able to visually keep them interested until the end. And sometimes that's just changing up the framing of your video every 12 to 15 seconds. If it's a long form video, you've got to do something to kind of wake them up a little bit. But what are those visuals going to be? You don't need to know all of them, but you need to have some kind of idea. Okay, this is where I'm going to do something here, and be able to have that in your head ahead of time, because if you want to illustrate something, demonstrate something while you are shooting the video, that's going to be something you're going to need to know before you go and start to create the video. And then the last one is, what do you want them to do after they watch this video? What is your call to action? Do you want them to comment below? Do you want them to tag a person below to share this video, which would be great because sharing also will trigger the algorithm to send it to more people? Do you want them to click a link in your bio? Do you want them to go buy something if it's a sales video? Have one main call to action. If you keep asking them to do things, they're not going to do anything, because a confused buyer doesn't buy anything. You've got to be really clear with what you want them to do. Do you want them to go watch a different piece of your content? Something that I like to do on Instagram is maybe give main tips about something, either in a written or a video content, and then say, hey, if you really like this, go to my stories today for the best part of all, the best tip that you're going to want to use right now. And that allows them to stay on your page a little bit longer and go binge more of your content. That's an example of you knowing what your call to action is before you even start the video. You can ask them a question and ask them to comment. That would be something that would get them to start engaging in the comments, which again, it triggers the algorithm. If this was helpful, it would mean so much if you would go to Instagram and take a photo of this podcast or this video that you're watching, depending on if you're on the podcast platform or you're on YouTube. Take a picture of it and tag me in stories at This is Virginia Kerr, and let me know why you like that episode so much. Because just like everything I tell you, I am always doing market research to figure out what my ideal person wants to hear more of, which is why I'm going to have a bonus podcast episode this week, specifically answering your questions about video that you sent to me on Instagram. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, take inventory and take care.